Welcome to the Town Board meeting, Thursday, August 1st. Please rise and salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Emergency exits are to my right behind the town attorney and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Councilwoman Samoji? Here. Councilman Morris?
Here.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle? Here. And Supervisor Purdy?
Here. Public comment? Public comment, Sharon? No? Okay. Yes. Supervisors report. Wassaic Trail to the Train update. The DOT permit group will not renew the highway permit for Trail to the Train project this time until the signal modification is completed. However, I just found out today, the DOT will pay for all costs of the modification. They are just waiting for CTC authorization. CTC is the group who's in charge of all the railroad crossings. Noise law update, sent Town Board public comments and recommendations for discussion on August 18, 2019 Town Board meeting. Dutchess County Procurement Shared Services, information for RFPs is being researched and specifics decided based on the format of like RFPs. Regional Ambulance Grant, meeting today with towns of Amenia, Northeast, and Dover, in addition to Dutchess County Emergency Response officials, NDP, and other fire company and rescue squad personnel attending. Grant update, CFA grant applications for Main Street and Wassaic Park grants were submitted before the July 26, 2019 deadline. Town Clerk report.
Good evening. I report to the board this evening that the monthly share for July 2019 being remitted to the town supervisor will be in the amount of $12,910.05. Total revenues collected in the office were $12,988.05. And I'd like to announce that we are up and going, and we have our fall hunting licenses available in our town clerk's office, so they are available and for sale. So if anyone that's interested in obtaining a hunting license for our 2019-2020 season may do so by visiting us during regular hours or by appointment. That'll conclude my report for this evening.
Okay, building report. We have issued 13 new building permits totaling $1,836. Certificate of occupancy searches. We did 10 searches, total $1,250. Did 2 fire inspections of $100, along with 2 tent permits of $300, and 2 renewals of $230, bringing the total of the month to $3,718. Are there any other commission or committee reports?
I should just jump into the picnic and everything and get it over with?
Sure.
Okay. Jump in and get it all over with. We had, we had the Amenia Seniors Picnic this past Saturday at the West Station Fire Department. It was our 29th year this year, and next year will be our 30th year, so I hope more people will come out to it next year for the 30th year. And we had a wonderful, wonderful turnout, and I'd like to thank the people who gave us gift cards. The Grill 2, which is in Wingdale, Santos, Jack's Auto, Fresco Deli, Rich's Deli, Fudgies, the Lanterns Inn. We had a 50-50, and Nancy Novak, who, upstairs, our secretary, she won the $76.50. And the other half of the 50-50 goes into the picnic line to help with expenses and stuff. We had a total of 52 guests, 23 takeouts, and about 6 no-shows for the event. Fresh Town donated a cake, 4 Brothers the salad, and Cousins Cafe in Wingdale catered our meal. I'd like to thank the people who helped with serving. Pat Kelsey, Nancy Novak, she's upstairs, Ann Warren, Victoria Parati, and Nancy Luther for helping and serving, and also Diane Molnar. And I forget the other lady's name, so I'm sorry, I forgot your name, who helped with the signing people in and giving the 50-50 tickets. And we did very good on our budget. Marge and I, we figured it all out, and we made it. We made it. And so it was really very good, and I hope to see you all next year for that, for the picnic. So that's the thing on the picnic. Now, you all know the trip to Lake George. It's sold out. It'll be a total of 44 of us going up to that. I turned that money into Marge this week, so it's already in the thing. I made the final reservations, giving the numbers to the Lake George company that will be doing the trip there for us on the Saint. I think it's called the Saint. The boat's called the Saint. And it's going to be a wonderful trip, and we're going to have a good time. And they know that we're all seniors, and they're making adjustments, so if for people with walkers or wheelchairs, they'll be accommodating. That one's done. The next one is going to go to the waterfront at Silver Birches. It's a day trip, and it's for the German festival, and it costs $45 per person, and it's a $2 cash tip for the driver. Please, if you send me the money in a check, don't put the cash tip in the check. It just makes Marge and I crazy. Mostly it makes us crazy because we have to figure things, and we don't want to figure things. We just want to do boom, boom. So please remember, it's a $2 cash tip. You can bring it with you when you get on the bus and give it to me there, okay? Thank you very much. And it's, the deadline is September 19th to get your checks in. You write them to the town of Amenia, and it's going to be great. If I read everything to you, we're going to arrive there at 10 a.m. where you're going to get coffee and strudel. Then there's going to be make your own strudel thing. Then there's an open bar from 12 to 3 with beer, wine, and soda. Cash bar, like if you like a Molito, I think that's a drink. And 12:30 to 2, family style menu, so it'll all be on the table. And then 2:30 to 3:30, the German show with Joe Lastovica Band, with German music, traditional German costumes, and all kinds of good fun. And 3:30, before you leave, you get a snack. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great thing. Please, and also, I only have 40 seats. That's what they allocated to us, okay? Because some places tell you how many seats you can have, And so it's not like I call them and say I'd like to have 43, 45, or whatever. It's when they say it's 40 seats, they mean 40 seats because they put that space aside for us. So please, it's going to be on the TV soon, and the flyers will be out, and you'll be able to get them. And that'll be our last trip for the summer. And now I'm going to ask a question of our attorney. Can I do that now, too?
Sure.
Thank you. I would ask permission before I do all the strange things I do. And some people want to go on a casino trip, bus trip, and I don't know. Is the town permitted to do casino bus trips? If we do them, how do we do it? Tell me.
If you're busing them from here to
the casino. And
the town pays
and the
for the
town pays for
transportation.
buses right now for other trips. So now my question, I think my thought is, because I think other places they do it, but I think the people who go on the casino trips, the fee is to pay for the bus. in it. So I think with the town, because we're not really doing, we don't really do casinos, so
I would say this, submit to me exactly the program that's happening, all the logistics to it, how it's happening, and then I can research exactly what the law would permit or not permit with regards to that particular issue.
Yeah, just send them an email.
I'll send you an email and.
Be particular as to what is happening as well, how the monies are flowing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
And, my last thing is Wassaic Fire Company, Chicken Parm and Spaghetti Dinner fundraiser, Friday, August 9th. It's $15 per person. Please go down and support your firehouse.
Yeah, it's a fundraiser for
For the truck.
the truck, right?
FWD truck. What's an FWD truck?
Four-wheel drive?
Okay.
I don't know, that's what the fundraiser is for, just so people know. It's for the truck.
That's for a truck.
Are there any other committee reports?
Leo's raising his hand. Victoria, Leo would
Yes.
like to.
Victoria, just to clarify, the date that you gave for I think you said that there was going to be a hearing on the noise ordinance. I think you said August 18th. Is that correct? Because that's a Sunday.
No, it's 15th.
The 15th.
I misspoke.
Okay. Great, thank you.
It's not a public hearing, it's just a discussion. We've already done the public hearing. No, I did say the 18th. It actually is the 15th. Thank you for pointing that out. Don't want people coming here on a Sunday. I'm wondering where I was. Okay, resolution for adoption of solar law.
If I could, so I had a call, was it Tuesday? Tuesday? With Nina, Leo, Ian. We spoke for about an hour. We went through the latest draft. We discussed some desired changes. And I would recommend that until, we didn't get to go through the whole thing, and I'd recommend that until we have a chance to go through the whole thing, redo a draft and circulate it for review by this board and the CAC as well. I'd recommend we just table this for the time being. I'll make that motion if that's what you want to do, or is there discussion?
Did you want to say something, Leo?
Sorry?
You made the motion? Did anybody second that motion?
I did not.
Second it, and then we can have discussion.
Oh, okay. I knew there was something like that. I just wanted to, it seemed to me that it might make sense to talk through the points that were brought up. I mean, to actually have a discussion before the board about those things rather than doing it offline, as long as everyone's here. It just seems like it would kind of make sense to do it that way. I mean, the previous meeting was the public hearing, and we're certainly happy to consider all the stuff that you brought, but I think we might as well discuss what those points are before
Okay,
the board.
do you mind if I get my notes?
Sure.
And just so that the board is aware and the public as well, once we received a copy of the draft, I did have a chance to go through it and typed up about 3.5 pages of comments and submitted them. Submitted them on June 19th to the board and the zoning review committee, well, specifically Leo and Nina, as well as Ian. And we can go through all 3 pages, but I guess just fundamentally what I started our discussion about on Tuesday was I had asked Ian if he had received any competing direction or concerns from any of the other board members other than what had been submitted by me in my typed comments. In general, the answer was no. And so my follow-up question at that point was, well, if this board has had an opportunity to provide some comments, our comments are informed by the fact that we are publicly elected, we hear feedback from our constituents, is there something impeding making some of the changes? And granted, I'm not a lawyer, I am not a zoning expert, so I'm happy to hear points that I may have raised that may be problematic. But I think in general, fundamentally, I see the responsibility of this board to make the law, and we shouldn't just abdicate our responsibilities. And if we do request changes, they should be either explained why they're bad requests or made. So we went through, in general, my primary objection to a number of points in the draft law have to do with residential. I don't have any objections to the draft law on commercial. And going back all the way to your predecessor, Ian, and the supervisor and this board's original direction when it came to the moratorium, the intent behind this law was initially to regulate, to fill a gap in our code, to regulate solar farms, commercial solar activity. And from the beginning, when that moratorium included residential, I objected strenuously. Your predecessor actually told me he was going to bring 2 drafts of the moratorium to the town board meeting that day, one which included residential, one which did not. That didn't happen, and we just got the full moratorium. It was voted on and passed. I objected to that. So in general, I feel like solar is not only a public benefit, but should be treated as a public utility for the most part. In the same way that telephone poles might be a little ugly, but they let you run your washing machine and your well pump. Solar has a significant role to play. And as I've stated numerous times on this board, it can drastically affect a household's finances, and the window to take advantage of a lot of those federal and state incentives is closing. So given all of that, I feel as though Amenia philosophically should do what it can to encourage solar adoption by homeowners who desire to do so on their own home. And there were a number of things in the code, and if you want, we can go through them point by point. It's going to take a long time. We could do it offline as well. We've done everything with all of the board members here copied and aware of our discussions. So,
Are there specific points that you want to make concerning it?
Well,
Without going through every single word?
That is my specific point, is that there are a number of things in the residential part.
Yes, but specifically what?
Okay, so specifically, I guess we'll go through a number of these. So I'm happy to do this, but it will take a long time. So,
Well, not one by, are there any things in there that you can group under one heading?
sure. So let's start with, there are some things that seem to be in response to aesthetic concerns. There's a part in the draft law that states that any ancillary solar equipment should match the color of the structure that it's attached to. Now, I'm not an electrician, but conduit comes in a handful of flavors, and you don't really get to pick. My house is like canary yellow. I can't imagine what, my wife picked the canary yellow flavor. I can't imagine what canary yellow conduit would cost, or, that seems. In the same vein, there was a section that said the town would encourage all solar equipment to be installed inside, underneath the roof, in attic spaces. Also, having put solar on my house, having been given that option, it'll look nicer, it'll be great. It was like thousands of dollars more. So the fact that the town is encouraging a step, which, granted, it does look nicer, it's tidier, but it would affect the cost of that installation significantly, and that would discourage a number of people who are tight on their funds or tight on their budgets to adopt it. So the conduit was one issue. There was another item in there that said that concerning solar panel glare. So the draft says that solar panels should be made of a material that, do not cause glare. And then there's a section where no installation can cause glare that offends a neighbor. I'm paraphrasing here clearly because I'm not referring to my individual notes, but there's like 5 companies that make solar panels, and you don't really get to choose what they're made of. They're pretty much all made of the same plastic material. I get that, the sun may travel through the sky, and at one point in the afternoon, perhaps there might be a glint of sparkle in your neighbor's kitchen at some point, but for me, compared to the benefits to my household finances, I have a daughter. I'm concerned about the next generation and the future of the environment here. And so there's a number of things in there that just seem like they are going to make life more difficult or scare people off or discourage people. The draft law starts by saying the intent is to encourage solar adoption in the town of Amenia. So there's just a number of things in there that don't seem to affect our ability to regulate this. They don't address safety concerns. It's not fire safety. It's not electrical safety. It's not structural safety. Those are all handled by New York State code.
It's all cosmetic.
It's a lot of it is cosmetic, and so that's fundamentally my objection without going through each item point by point. There's finally another part that states that it dictates the angle at which solar panels can be mounted on a roof. Well, again, that's somebody's house is going to be where somebody's house is, and the sun is where it goes. And if your panels can be tilted by 25 degrees and your production can increase by 60%, that's a really big deal. It's thousands of dollars a year for that homeowner who's made that investment. So it just seems to me that it's a little burdensome the way that it's currently drafted.
My question to put installing the panels and stuff, but the people who will install them will know the best way to install those solar panels to get the most energy
Yes.
from. So if we try to say install it at a right angle to the sun or whatever it is, and we try to, and it's not the best system, we're locking people into something that can't be worked out for them financially or even to be able to produce the solar. In other words, maybe we should say something that they should be installed, we'll install by, authorized people, and that the recommendation should be for the best quality and output of the solar energy, and not necessarily so tied up onto which angle, or I'm just thinking.
And the market dictates that, right? Like
The market.
people want to make the best investment possible, and the people who sell solar panels, like they want to put a good system in, and they're guaranteeing production for 20 years or something. Like, there's science behind it. It's not as willy-nilly as it might.
So some of these little things that, like you said, they're cosmetic and they may sound very nice, but they're not cost effective and they're not really energy efficient either for the homeowner. And that we should just kind of put guidelines in that say that they should match the guidelines, the recommended guidelines of the people who put the solar panels. The people who know how to put them in will give you the right guidance for how to put them in. And I'm sure they have all kinds of legal and federal and state and guidelines for installing these things so that people will get the best advantage to using it.
Is there anything else?
I did spend a lot of time making some very detailed notes. So yeah, there's other things.
Which
everyone had.
has.
I sent
Okay.
around on the 19th, and I'm not upset with this process. I think this is a great process to go through. I just think we need more time to do it, and then once we have a draft law, circulate it to the CAC, circulate it to this board. I feel that this deadline of trying to get this done is fabricated to a certain degree, because I didn't agree with the premise of the moratorium to begin with. Granted, that was my...
It's not fabricated. It was a moratorium.
I
It
understand.
isn't something everybody just made up.
No, no, no. I'm not saying the moratorium was fabricated. I'm saying that the impetus for the moratorium
But-
may not have been,
Now,
in my opinion, it was not a real threat.
Right.
And
Damien,
so
what do you want to do? What do you want to
I
do?
just want more time. Just want us to take more time. That's all.
Okay.
Some
Now
more
these-
weeks and.
yeah, these individuals here, they're the ones working on it most
The
of the time,
zoning
right?
review commission.
And can I respond generally?
Sure.
Go further into the weeds on this? So the conversation we had with Damien was actually helpful because it made us go back to the NYSERDA model code. And we've been working on this for such a long time that I had forgotten that some of the items that we had requested actually come from that directly, like the 5% addition to a roof is actually in the New York State model code. The issue of taking more time is that we had a public hearing on this already, so we're certainly happy to indulge your personal interest in spending more time on this, but there was a process.
That's not fair to characterize it that way, Lee.
Really? Because, I mean, there was a public hearing, and
There
you
were
made
two.
comments and we responded. So I'm not opposed, Damien. I mean, NYSERDA wants to make this easy, and we want to make it easy, but I don't think that the town of Amenia should be making rules that are, kind of looser than what NYSERDA does in their uniform code, which is actually designed intentionally so that communities all over New York State have the same rules
Yes.
for installing panels.
Yeah,
So
agreed, and I agree with that. So I agree that we should take the model, the NYSERDA model law, and use that as our baseline and go from there.
And that is, we've been doing this for 2 years.
No, I understand.
Okay.
I understand, but there are things in there where it diverges from that, and those are some of my concerns primarily.
Okay.
And it also, when it comes to how it's applied based on the zoning or the overlays. So whereas for the most part, if you're a homeowner in the town of Amenia, this draft law gives you the right to install solar on your house. Granted, you have to apply for the state. You have to do the state solar application. You have to apply for a building permit with the CEO. You have to go through all of the normal steps to ensure safety and compliance. But there are certain zoning districts and overlays that would not have that same right to put panels on their roof. And that is something that's very specific to our implementation of it, and I just don't, I object to it. And furthermore, I by nature of my role, I spend a lot of time speaking to people. In the last 30 days, I've spoken to 5 or 6 people who have been considering solar projects on their own house. One of them is sitting at this table right now. Because it is something that I've done and I'm mildly knowledgeable about, I'm happy to share my knowledge, but I have spoken to no one who is concerned about the undue proliferation of solar in the town of Amenia. I've only spoken to residents and my constituents about their interest in doing and their curiosity, and is it hard, is it worth it, is it, and given the feedback that I've received as an elected official and the environmental benefits of this, I just feel like it should be a little less cumbersome.
Okay, I understand that. I mean, one of the things that I wanted to say about the overlay districts is the overlay districts, it's not prohibited in any of the overlay districts. It just says that there needs to be a review if it's in the scenic protection overlay or in the historic preservation overlay. And the reason for that is that it says in the comprehensive plan that Amenia is to take special care to preserve the rural agricultural nature and the historic nature of the town, and since that's something that brings tourists, which is one of our few burgeoning industries, I think that's really important. So I don't think saying that it's prohibited is really a fair description.
So now we're just rehashing the conversation we had on Tuesday, but when we specifically talked about the scenic protection overlay, Nina herself on the call And, Ian didn't really opine, but what we discussed on our call on Tuesday was that if there is a house that exists in the scenic protection overlay already, and they want to put solar panels on their roof, it is not an injury to the town or anyone's sensibilities that would happen. The house is already there, the structure's there. We're not saying we're going to build a new structure in the scenic protection overlay. You're just saying you're going to put panels on your roof. And my objection is that homeowner, that landowner, would then, instead of just going to the CEO, going to the building department, getting a permit, would have to go through all of the additional steps to go before the planning board. People who install solar in this town would come to know that, and all of a sudden, it's more expensive for everybody in this town to do that.
So just to clarify, so after we had, as Leo said, after we had the conversation with you, we went back and we looked at the model solar law, we looked at our own zoning code, we looked at all the regulations in the SBO and the HBO, just to make sure that what we were recommending as part of this draft was not only consistent with what the NYSERDA, with the model law recommends, but also our local code. So we went back and we looked at all the requirements for the SPO, and it turns out that if you want to do anything on your house, if it's in an SPO, you need to go to the planning board for site plan approval, so you have to be there anyway. So what we recommend is just something that you would have to do anyway as part of your approval process for a house that's located in the SPO. So we wanted to make sure, honestly, that we weren't being more onerous than what the state recommends, and that we were also being consistent with what's already in our code. And in a lot of cases, we also got comments from Jeff. They were pretty similar to yours, and that was another reason why we went back and we looked at the model code. So, for by way of reference, for glare, we looked at that because we were kind of like, well, is that an unreasonable request? So we went back to the model code, and what they say is, all solar panels shall have anti-reflective coating.
Which is accurate. They all come with that.
Right. So what we propose is we can change the language in our code to say, instead of saying all panels shall be constructed of material designed to minimize glare, we can go back to the code and use the same language, and hopefully that would respond to your concern.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also Jeff's too,
And
right? So as long as we're consistent, the same is true for solar panels installed on pitched roofs shall be mounted with a maximum distance of 8 inches between the roof surface. They shall be installed parallel to the roof surface on which they are mounted or attached. So we actually gave a little bit more height, because we were like, 8 inches doesn't seem like a lot. So, and when we looked at a whole bunch of different solar panel providers to figure out what that mounting bracket, what that distance is, 8 inches didn't seem like enough, so we said a foot seemed like enough. It also requires that solar panels on flat roofs that have a parapet be installed lower than the parapet. We have that language in here. So I think what we can do is we can adjust the language in our code so that it matches exactly to the solar code, but in some cases, it's more restrictive than what we're proposing.
It may be, and in some cases it's not. I mean, I don't recall the conduit color issue being in the draft code the last time I looked at the NYSERDA.
They talk a lot about aesthetics, right? Like in the model
But
code.
the conduit issue is a paint issue, Damien, not like finding yellow conduit. I mean, there's painted conduit on my house, and that's a pretty standard.
Sure. It's just it's requiring a homeowner to take an extra step that benefits whom? I mean, if the homeowner who is determining the color of their own house cares enough about the paint on the conduit, then go get them. It's like, but the town to step in and mandate that your conduit needs to be, that seems unreasonable to me.
I think that actually was not as much about conduit as actually future batteries or equipment that was sort of more sizable. But in any event, I mean, I certainly am willing to let that go, although I think painting the conduit is not a big deal, but I certainly do not want to discourage people from moving ahead with solar. So I mean, that's easy enough to fix. And I think, we talked about that when we last spoke, to adjust some of these things based on our last conversation.
Yeah, and I think we made great progress on the call on Tuesday, and all I'm asking is that we take a little more time before we make a law.
What is the downside of tabling this until our next meeting? Victoria, is there any downside?
We're tired.
Just time. Just time. I mean, the changes that are being discussed right now, I don't think are significant. They're in line with the public comment. I don't think
In
it
that
would
case,
cause
I'll
us to
second your
republish. What we would have to do is make the edits, relay
made
the
the
law
motion.
back on the desks, and then 7
Vicky
days would have to
seconded.
pass, and
You did
then
already? Okay.
She seconded it.
then it could come up again for a vote.
Okay, so we'll table it to the 15th then.
We're in the middle of a vote on that.
I know, I'm talking to Ian.
Oh,
So just so that we know what we should do in between now and then, so you have
I'd like to
additional-
continue the conversation because we got through about half of the draft law.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could send us your comments, and then we can, like, just, incorporate them or not, and then write, it would be better, I think, just because we're running out of steam a little bit on
Yeah,
this,
no,
to be
I totally
perfectly
understand.
honest.
But to be fair, I sent the comments on June 19th.
And we made a bunch of
Yeah.
revisions based on your
There was
comments.
language inserted to soften
Yeah.
a lot of the language about minimizing glare. We put in there language indicating to optimize, to balance the glare issue with the optimizing of the solar panel itself. So there
Yeah, we
was
made them
an intent.
recommendations
They-
instead
they-
of requirements.
Yeah,
most
and
of those
there's a lot
things.
of more discretionary items.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
that's not the right word.
as we discussed on the call on Tuesday, I don't really see the benefit to anyone to continue to keep certain parts of that language in there, but we can continue to have that conversation. I understand what we did and I'm happy to send the comments again, and we can pick it up at the next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's also important for the board to recognize is that in response to the comments that we received not only from Damien, but also from the planning board, and at these meetings from the
And
community.
Dutchess County Planning.
And Dutchess County Planning, we made a fair amount of changes to the law that sets a baseline of conditions, right? So that there is something there's some criteria by which the code enforcement officer can make a real determination. It gives a tremendous amount of discretion to the planning board to waive some of the requirements that are in here, but what you need to do is set standards that people, so that there's certainty. Right, so if
Absolutely.
I want to come in and put this, I know what's expected of me. I know what I need to do on the application. I know what this needs to look like. I understand the process. And then if there's an issue with this or that, or my house is facing the wrong direction, or I need to install the solar panels in a slightly different angle, the planning board has the discretion to waive that. That's in the current law. But in order to provide a baseline of certainty, the law has to be consistent across the board. So
I
we made
fully
sure,
agree with that.
yeah.
100%.
So that's kind of where we are now. And if it's just kind of softening language, that
Yeah, truly-
we're happy to entertain that. But it has been a long haul on this.
I understand, and we have said numerous times, I'll say it again, thank you so much for all of the time
We're
that you guys
happy
have
to do it, but
I'm just saying, we're making a law here now that is not in response to anyone in town's injury. Like, no one's come before this board that said, I have been injured by my neighbor's installation of solar panels. Not to my knowledge, not as long as I've been on this board. No one's come to me as an elected official and said, I really hate what so-and-so did on their house across the street, it's driving me nuts. So we're writing a law in a noble attempt to try and regulate something that is omitted by our code, but I just don't want us to go overboard to the point where we are discouraging something that I feel is very important. That's all.
Well, we agree with you on that.
Okay, I just have a question for you, so I'm trying to make sense out of this. What you're saying is that you've revised some of the language in this code so that it's recommendations and not actual rules. Now, is this already in this code that we have tonight, or are these things going to be, like, if we do the next meeting, would it be in the next meeting, and then we can vote on this?
We believe that language, that the comments that have been offered by all the different parties have been accommodated in the law that you have before you.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't agree
Right.
with that, clearly, but.
Okay, but you've researched everything carefully, you've done all the laws, you've done everything.
They've been working on it for months.
Eons, eons, okay.
I think 2 years since we started.
Yes, and I think that these people are reasonable and intelligent people,
Yeah.
and they've done the best that they can with whatever, and I think that we should, personally, I think we should just vote on this law tonight if we're going to do it tonight or not.
Okay, well, I have a motion to table it, so that's been seconded. If we're done with discussion.
Just for date purposes, if we were to table, oh shoot, hold on. If we were to table it, we would have to allow time to meet, discuss, edit, change, and then relay it on the desk. So I think we could do that by our next meeting at the 15th to relay it on the desks. Then it would have to, the vote would be at the next board meeting, which would be the September meeting. So just as part of the motion, it would be this September.
So the vote wouldn't be,
Table
wouldn't
it.
be till September?
Correct.
Okay.
Look, I'm fine with that timing for what it's worth. I would also encourage every other member of this board to, comment and join the next call we have, or, do whatever. I'm just involved in this, not because I have a personal interest in it, but just happen to be a little knowledgeable about it because I've
You have.
been through it before.
Yeah.
And
The rest of the board has read the law. If they haven't made any comments, obviously, they don't have the particular concerns you have. I mean, just because,
that's
you know...
fair. I was not.
the comment you make is inaccurate.
What I didn't say nobody read it. I didn't say that.
Well, you don't know who made comments.
I asked. We've been participating in comments as a group with all of us copied on email. So, no, I don't know where everybody stands, but I'm happy to continue, and I'm happy for participation of others. That's fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're in no rush. I mean, that's a lie. We're getting a little tired. But we're happy to have another chat with you about it, as long as there's kind of an end in sight. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Because we have like 5 other things that are on our list that we're supposed to tackle next. So if, we have no problem, having another call between now and the next meeting, just to make sure that, making sure that we meet all the deadlines for your review. I mean, we're not,
I feel a tremendous amount of guilt for the time that you have put in that you're not getting paid for.
Meh.
But I also
Leo
have
and
to
I
say
were
that,
used
like,
to guilt.
that guilt shouldn't strong arm this board into feeling unduly hurried to pass.
Well,
this.
I don't feel strong-armed. I don't know about anybody else.
That's fine. If we had hired an engineer or a lawyer, we wouldn't have the same concern about protecting your precious time, which it is, and I'm not saying that facetiously at all. You're both my neighbors. I'm friends with you. Like, this is not a combative situation at all. Like, I legitimately have concerns about this, and I'm doing my job. And that's all.
I mean, we don't have a problem with going through this again or in the second half if we didn't get all your comments. Well, I think we had read them. I mean, I think we got it on text. I mean, it's not a problem for us. We'll do that, but I would like to resolve this because we're supposed to look at wind next, and we're getting. Well, I'm getting old. Nina's not, but I'd like to complete this before death knocks at my door. So.
Yeah, so I just want to know, where do we stand this evening? What are we doing this evening?
We're tabling it to the next meeting.
To the next meeting, and then at the next...
There's a vote on the
there's a
floor.
motion.
There's a motion on the floor, second it. We're doing discussion right now, and then we will vote.
On tabling it to the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to keep track here because I'm getting off the track here with all of these.
Dawn?
So I'm going to take a roll call. So you're voting on whether or not you agree to tabling it. That's it. Just tabling it means it's going to come back at another time. Okay? Councilwoman Simoji.
No.
Councilman Morris.
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle.
Yes.
Supervisor Prodi.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then we have resolutions for Silo Ridge Phases C and D.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So there was a Resolution 7 on March 27, 2019, and I believe that we've submitted everything that were conditions of that resolution. I know some of them were just received today. So we're just here to make sure everything is received and find out what the next steps are.
Basically, we're going to do the resolution, and I will be signing the subordination agreement. I received the signatures today by FedEx that go with the subordination agreement. And then there's another amendment for amended and restated license agreement.
Right.
And all of these things will be approved this evening.
Okay. Thank you.
Resolution number?
60.
Is there discussion, or can I ask a question before?
Certainly.
I have to apologize for playing the video of the last meeting while I was doing something else, so I'm not sure I got all the details. But I wanted to ask about the assessment for Silo Ridge and the settlement that was reached. I just wanted to understand how much money that meant to the town. I believe it was 91 million that was taken off their assessment, and I just wanted to know what the tax value of that was for Amenia, because that seemed to me like an enormous amount of money, and I wasn't really sure. I mean, it seemed to me there are a lot of people in this town who are seniors or on fixed incomes who really could use a break on their taxes, and the people at Silo Ridge who have to be millionaires or greater to actually multimillionaires or greater to buy property there, I wouldn't think need the tax break, in addition to which I don't know. I mean, that was basically it. Is that I just was really curious because that's a substantial favor done for someone that.
It's not a favor. There was a settlement done.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was a substantial settlement of someone's taxes, and I just wanted to understand what that meant in terms of town taxes.
Before we answer, are we completely done with that process? Because we can't comment on something that's ongoing.
Correct.
All right, so unfortunately.
It's still ongoing at this point.
Okay. Thank you.
Resolution approving form of second amended and restated license agreement and subordination agreement with the Silo Ridge Field Club. Whereas Silo Ridge Ventures, Property A LLC, having an address in care of Discovery Land Company, 14605 North 73rd Street, Scottsdale, Arizona, 85260, as the owner of certain real property located in the town of Amenia, New York, known as tax grid number 706600 732810, 706600 860 725, 7066-00 742300, 706600 670717, 606600 628131, and 706700 709177. And whereas in October 2013, Silo Ridge Ventures, LLC submitted applications to the Planning Board to develop a mixed-use resort community on the SRVP property. Whereas a portion of the resort community would also be developed on a portion of an adjoining tax parcel, 706600 870 350, owned by the Harlem Valley Landfill Corp., and also located in the town of Amenia. Whereas the resort community includes, among other things, 52 attached condominiums, 159 single-family detached homes on separate lots, 13 townhomes on separate lots, 21 hotel condominium lodging units, a winery-themed restaurant, an 18-hole golf course, a clubhouse lodge with restaurant, bar, lounge, and golf pro shop, family activity barn, lake pavilion, fitness spa, yoga center, golf academy, sales center, general store, village green, artisans park overlook, water and wastewater plants, recreational and open space amenities, and related improvements to be owned and maintained by one or more homeowners associations and condominium associations. Whereas in connection with the project, The applicant applied to the planning board for, among other things, an amended special permit master development plan approval pursuant to Section 121-18C3 of the zoning code. Special permit, 2 special permit approvals for the golf maintenance facility, golf course improvements and wastewater treatment plant to be located on a portion of the HVLC property in the OC zoning district pursuant to Section 121-10B of the zoning code. 3, a site plan approval for the first phase of the project, including the golf maintenance facility, golf course improvements, and wastewater treatment plant, to be located on a portion of the HVLC property. A preliminary subdivision approval and lot line adjustment to incorporate a portion of the HVLC property pursuant to Chapter 105 of the Town Code. 5, special permit approval for storage at the golf maintenance facility of more than 500 pounds of fertilizers and pesticides, herbicides, pursuant to Town Code 121-15E1. And 6, certain waivers and supplementary approvals under the town zoning code and subdivision law, collectively the application. Whereas the planning board, with the assistance of its technical and legal consultants, engaged in a detailed review of the applications, including all materials submitted by the applicant in support of the applications over a period of 2.5 years. And whereas after engaging in thorough review of the project under State Environmental Quality Review Act, on July 29, 2015, the Planning Board adopted an amended and restated finding statement with mitigation measures for the project. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Amenia was an involved agency for purposes of review of the project under seeker, because the Town Board has jurisdiction to approve certain aspects of the project, including, among others, the approval of various project bonds and financial guarantees. Whereas on November 19, 2015, after careful review of the amended seeker findings prepared by the Planning Board, the Town Board adopted Resolution Number 44 of 2015, adopting its seeker finding statement for the Silo Ridge Field Club in accordance with 6 NY-CRR Part 617.11. Whereas on July 29, 2015, pursuant to Section 105-12 of the subdivision law, the Planning Board adopted Resolution 11 of 2015, approving a preliminary subdivision plat for the project entitled Silo Ridge Field Club. Preliminary subdivision plats prepared by VHB Engineering, Surveying, and Landscape Architecture, PC, dated January 8, 2015, last revised June 15, 2015, and containing numerous conditions pursuant to the subdivision law and Section 276 of the New York State Town Law. The board also approved the remaining applications. Whereas on July 29, 2015, the Planning Board also adopted the following resolutions, among others, in connection with the project. 1, Resolution Number 9 of 2015, entitled Resolution Approving the Amended Special Permit and Amended Master Development Plan for the Silo Ridge Field Club. And 2, Resolution Number 12 of 2015, entitled Resolution Approving Site Plans for Phase 1 of the Silo Ridge Field Club. Collectively, with the preliminary plat approval, the July 2015 approvals. Whereas on April 27, 2016, pursuant to Section 105-13 of the subdivision law, the Planning Board adopted Resolution 4 of 2016, approving the final subdivision plat for the project, entitled Silo Ridge Field Club Final Subdivision Plats, prepared by VHB Engineering, Surveying, and Landscape Architecture, PC, dated November 25, 2015, last revised February 8, 2016. The final subdivision approval, whereas pursuant to Section 105-13G of the subdivision law, the Planning Board may permit a subdivision plat to be divided into 2 or more sections of phases subject to any conditions it seems necessary to ensure the orderly development of the final subdivision plat, and whereas the final subdivision plat included with the final subdivision approval were broken down into phases, which include the following. 1, Phase 1A includes, among other things, the existing golf course, including the driving range and installation of related infrastructure, the WWTP and conveyance system, the water supply and distribution system, treatment facility, the clubhouse, the Village Green neighborhood condominiums and townhomes, the Golf Villa neighborhood, the South Lawn neighborhood single-family homes, certain estate homes, the sales center and general store, the Artisan Park Overlook, amenity buildings, and related infrastructure. Phase 1B will include the creation of lots L1 through LL9 to LLVG-18 to VG-24.
You missed LL32, you missed a line.
32.
Okay, wait a
So
minute.
LL9.
Okay,
to
the Artisans, I'll
LL32.
start over. The Artisans Park Overlook amenity buildings and related infrastructure of Phase 1B will include the creation of LL9 to LL32 and construction of their related infrastructure. Phase 1C will include the creation of lots VG18 to VG24 and the construction of their related infrastructure. Phase 1D will include the creation of lots VG2 to VG17 and the construction of their related infrastructure. And Phase 1E will include the creation of lots E29 through E47 and the construction of the related infrastructure. Whereas pursuant to 105-28 of the Town Code, the applicant is required to furnish a bond for faithful performance of the required improvements required under a final subdivision plat approval. Whereas on December 17, 2015, the Town Board adopted Resolution 57 of 2015, approving, among other things, the form of a license agreement allowing the town to enter the project site to implement the terms of certain performance bonds related to Phase 1A and the sewer system for the project as provided by the terms of the bonds, the license agreement. Whereas the license agreement was reviewed by the town attorney, who confirmed that the license agreement was acceptable as to form and content, whereas the final subdivision plats for Phase 1A were stamped and endorsed by the Planning Board Chairman on May 5, 2016, and recorded in the office of the Dutchess County Clerk on May 6, 2016, final plat approval for Phase 1A, and whereas SRVP HVLC and the town entered into a license agreement dated as of May 5, 2016, and recorded in the Dutchess County Clerk's office on May 20, 2016, as document number 02-0216-3166 with respect to certain of the then applicable bonds. Whereas on October 26, 2016, the Planning Board adopted Resolution Number 10 for 2016, authorizing the Planning Board Chairman to stamp and endorse the plan, to endorse the phase, I can read it again. Endorse the Phase 1E final subdivision plats. Whereas on May 10, 2017, the Planning Board adopted Resolution Number 8 for 2017, authorizing the Planning Board Chairman to stamp and endorse Phase 1B final subdivision plats. Whereas on March 27, 2019, the Planning Board adopted Resolution Number 7 for 2019, authorizing the Planning Board Chairman to stamp and endorse Phases 1C/1D final subdivision plats. Whereas U.S. Specialty Insurance Company has issued in favor of the town of Amenia as obligee, 3 bonds. 1 bond number 1001006-857, titled Performance Bond for Silo Ridge Field Club. Site Plan Phase 1A in the penal amount of $7,783,737, reduced to $1,556,747 by Town Board Resolution Number 26 of 2019. Bond number 1001006-866, titled Performance Bond for Silo Ridge Field Club, Phase 1E, in the penal amount of $1,901,061. And bond number 1001006-856, titled Performance Bond for the Silo Ridge Field Club Sewage Work System, in the penal amount of $4,607,538, reduced to $1,175,989 by Town Board Resolution Number 25 of 2019. And Atlantic Specialty Insurance Company, collectively with USSIC, the surety, has issued in favor of the town of Amenia as obligee. Bond number 800012081, titled Performance Bond for the Silo Ridge Field Club Phase 1B, in the penal amount of $767,951, and bond number 800043896, titled Performance Bond for the Silo Ridge Field Club Phase 1C and 1D, in the penal amount of $641,597. Collectively, the bonds. Whereas pursuant to the bonds, the town has certain rights, as stated therein, to access SRVP property and HVLC property as applicable to enforce the bonds or exercise any rights or perform any obligations thereunder. License activities. Whereas on November 3, 2016, the Town Board approved Resolution 71 of 2016 to amend and restate the license agreement to grant to the town as licensee a non-revocable license to access the HRVP property and HVLC property, including Phase 1E, to enforce all of the then applicable bonds, the amended and restated license agreement. Whereas on May 4, 2017, the Town Board approved Resolution 15 of 2017 related to the First Amendment of amended and restated license agreement to expand the town's license to access HRVP property and HVLC property, including Phase 1B, to enforce all of the then applicable bonds, the First Amendment to amended and restated license agreement. Whereas HRVP, HVLC, and the town now desire a Second Amendment to the amended and restated license agreement to license the town to access all of the SRVP property and HVLC property, including all approved phases, to enforce all of the bonds or license activities thereunder the Second Amendment to amended and restated license agreement. And whereas SRVP had previously given a mortgage affecting portions of SRVP property to CPIF Lending LLC, having an address care of Columbia Pacific Advisors, 1910 Fairview Avenue East, 2nd floor, Seattle, Washington, 98102, former lender. And whereas the former lender was the holder of the mortgage that encumbers the premises designated as Town of Amenia tax lots numbers 706600, 732810, 706600, 670717, 706600, 860725, 706600, 742300, 706600, 628131, and 706700709-177, the mortgage property. Whereas in May 2019, SRVP refinanced a debt structure with a new lender, Mosaic Real Estate Company, MREC, having an address of 54 West 40th Street, Suite 911, New York, New York, 10018. Whereas the former lender released their liens on the mortgage property, including subdivision phases 1C and 1D. Whereas all in connection with phases 1C, 1D, SRVP has amended existing agreements with the town of Amenia and certain other parties affecting the SRVP property and HVLC property, including the Second Amendment to amended and restated license agreement, which is to be recorded in the Dutchess County Clerk's Office subsequent to the recordation of the mortgage, collectively the superior agreements. And whereas the lender has agreed to subordinate the mortgage to the superior agreements as set forth in the attached subordination agreement, whereas the planning board attorney, as special counsel to the town in this matter, has reviewed and had the opportunity to propose revisions to the Second Amendment to amended and restated license agreement and 2 subordination agreement, and has found both sufficient as to form and content. Now therefore be it resolved that after review and due consideration of all the foregoing, the town board approves the form of the Second Amendment to amended and restated license agreement as attached to this resolution as Exhibit A, and hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute the same, subject to the following conditions. Legal counsel for the town in this matter shall, 1, review and approve all necessary exhibits to the Second Amendment as amendment to amended and restated license agreement. 2, insert any necessary information therein. 3, make any minor revisions to effectuate the purpose and intent of the Second Amendment to amended and restated license agreement in this resolution. Be it further resolved that after review and due consideration of all the foregoing, the town board approves the form of the subordination agreement as attached to this resolution as Exhibit B, and hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute the same, subject to the following conditions. Legal counsel for the town board in the matter shall, 1, review and approve all necessary exhibits to the subordination agreement. 2, insert any necessary information therein. 3, make any minor revisions to effectuate the purpose and intent of subordination agreement in this resolution. So be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Is there a motion?
I motion to accept this resolution approving the form of a second amended and restated license agreement and subordination agreement for the Silo Ridge Field Club.
Is there a second?
Awesome.
Discussion. Ian, can you just provide like a 20-second summary of what we just read? Roughly?
I am not,
Actually, Mike can.
Mike? Just for the public, because that was a lot of... 30
Just
seconds.
kind of basically what we're doing.
So essentially, there's a parcel that was approved to be subdivided back when we received the approvals in 2016. And we're now going to subdivide that parcel because we're looking to build on it. So all these documents and plats are, in effect, allowing us to subdivide that parcel. Part of what was needed, what you're working on here, is that we're paying off one of the lenders that we had for condo buildings that are being completed, and we have a new lender that's helping us out on some of the other facilities that will be going forward. So we're essentially saying one person's off the list and a new Mosaic is now coming in and being a lender.
Good. Thank you.
Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Terrace?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Do we have to read the subordination agreement or no? Huh? We do? No.
No.
We can just, because we referenced it, that's right. So it's dated as of today or when
It's
gets
referenced
signed?
in the resolution, I don't think you have to read it.
Perfect.
Yeah, all of that goes with the resolution. And then as soon as you review it, I can sign it, Ian.
Okay.
You want me to do this one?
What?
The one-page one?
Historic? Yeah, you can do the one-page one.
I'll do the one-page one. Resolution number 61 of 2019, authorizing execution of service agreement with Town of Amenia Historical Society. Whereas the Town of Amenia Historical Society is a not-for-profit corporation organized pursuant to the laws of the state of New York, and whereas AHS has been and continues to preserve the Town of Amenia's history, making it accessible to the public through various programs, community events, and publications, as well as through its archives. And whereas the town acknowledges the long-standing relationship between the town and AHS and acknowledges with gratitude the partnership the town has had with AHS in preserving the town's history. And whereas the town wishes to contract with AHS to continue its service to the town, preserving its history through the preservation of family and topic files, photographs, videos, maps, documents, and various artifacts of the town's history. And whereas AHS is willing to provide the services upon the terms and conditions as set forth in the service agreement, a copy of which is annexed hereto. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board acknowledges that they have read the terms and conditions set forth in the aforementioned services agreement and hereby accepts the terms, conditions, and obligations as set forth in said agreement, a copy of which is affixed hereto. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby directed and authorized to execute the service agreement by and on behalf of the town of Amenia in substantially the same form as annexed hereto, provided that any further revisions do not address the town's rights or obligations, or if they do not modify those rights or obligations, subject to final review and approval of the attorney to the town. Then be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby directed to provide a copy of the service agreement signed by all parties to the town clerk, who shall maintain the same in her files. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes.
Did we draft this service agreement, or did they?
We did,
We
and
did.
their board voted to accept it.
Awesome.
Correct.
We've been going back and forth with changes, and that's the final version that was voted on by the Amenia Historical Society Board.
Great. I just didn't know who had authored it, so that was it.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Resolution number 62 of 2019, appointment of animal control officer. Whereas there currently exists a vacancy in the position of animal control officer, whereas Maria Genovese has expressed an interest in filling the vacancy and serving in such a capacity as animal control officer, whereas the town board has elected to appoint Maria Genovese as animal control officer effective immediately. Now therefore be it resolved that Maria Genovese is hereby appointed to the position of animal control officer effective immediately, and be it further resolved that Maria Genovese shall receive an annual salary of $9,975. $9,795. I make that motion?
Second.
Executive session.
Pay no attention to that.
Okay, so how about you, Michelle? Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
You need that. I know.
63?
Yes.
Resolution 63 of 2019, employing special counsel for legal services in connection with Ken Hollow, Inc. litigation. Whereas the town of Amenia is in need of legal services in connection with an Article 78 proceeding commenced by Kent Hollow, Inc. against the Zoning Board of Appeals in the town of Amenia and Michael Segelkin, Code Enforcement Official, Officer of the town of Amenia. Now therefore be it resolved that George Lithgow, Esquire of Jacobowitz and Gubitz LLP, with offices at 158 Orange Avenue, Walden, New York, 12586, be and hereby is employed and retained as special counsel for the purposes of defending the Zoning Board of Appeals of the town of Amenia and Michael Segelkin, Code Enforcement Official, Officer of the town of Amenia, against Ken Hollow, Inc., who commenced an Article 78 proceeding against the town of Amenia. And be it further resolved that George Lithgow, Esquire of Jacobowitz and Gubitz LLP, shall be paid for such legal services in accordance with the representation letter submitted to the town board dated July 31st, 2019, and in accordance with the schedule of hourly rates and disbursements annexed to the representation letter. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor, on behalf of the town of Amenia, is hereby authorized to execute the representation letter as referenced herein. Is that annexed? Is that in our packet?
No, it's
I don't
here.
have it.
It's, basically, the rates are going to be the same as Ian's. That's the retainer agreement, if you want to see it.
I don't have a copy of that either. If you can send it, then it goes on the, if they reference it, it goes on the website as well.
Sorry?
I'll send it to you, so you have it on email.
Where are the rates?
Doesn't say. Where it is, okay. You want to see this, Michelle?
No, because I think there's the ones we voted on, right? When we
No, this is the-
hired these people or something.
I'll make that motion.
He's the attorney that's been
Yeah.
representing the Zoning Board of Appeals
Right, and
with
I-
this whole issue.
And I thought we did something at a board meeting to-
No.
for that, okay.
To you.
A second?
Or first.
I made the motion.
Second,
Councilwoman Simoji?
yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Abstain.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now, other matters,
Can we do
Damien?
that? Yep. So we are in the process of attempting to upgrade our town email service. Hallelujah. We had a proposal submitted by BAS a number of months ago. It was actually at the tail end of last year. We since have gone out and spoken to other consultants. We've spoken to county procurement as part of our shared services agreement, which was helpful and educational. And with everyone here's approval, I would like to, given the existing relationship and knowledge that BAS has, I'd like to reach out to them and just let them know about some of the licensing prices that I learned about through the state or county procurement. Their state negotiated prices, and if BAS could take advantage of those, then I would recommend this approval or this proposal for.
Okay,
approval.
so you'll bring that back to the next meeting?
Yep, next meeting.
Okay, that works. Town board comments? Public comment? Public comment? Nope. Any public comment? No?
I have a question.
Okay, that's public comment.
My name's George Pastranis, and I just moved here about a year ago.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm just wondering what the issue was with the Bog Hollow zoning board, what the...
With what?
Kent.
Kent Hollow.
Ken Hollow Mine?
It's a mine.
Mm-hmm.
And how are they in violation?
Again, there's litigation pending on that currently, so.
There may be, if you are interested in doing your own research, you could look on the website. There's probably some
Okay.
documents that you could, sorry, that's a not very,
Look under ZBA, the ZBA was handling it, so you find information in the minutes.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's a lot of detailed work. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Town board comments?
No, I don't really have any. I'm just going to say to everyone, I don't always like to explain myself, but the reason I voted no to tabling this thing is because I really feel that people have spent every waking hour and moment for 2 years studying this thing, and they've gone through all the guidelines that we have. They've researched everything, and they have everything in there for people who want to use solar energy and stuff, that they will be able to go to where they have to go and get permission to put the solar energy and stuff like that. And I think that sometimes, I mean, I understand the cosmetic stuff, but I really think that some of that is just a bit much. And we need to stick to the real basic, simple facts of what things are going to cost, and how they're going to help the people in our community with solar energy. So that's I'm just saying this to everyone out there, that I just think they've done everything they can do, and they've explained things to me, so the people have left here, but they explained things so that I understood what they were saying. So if I misunderstood, I'm sure someone will point that out to me, but I understood that they've done all that they can do, and that it's time for us to make a decision. And I thank you all for your time.
Are there any other town board comments?
well, I will just give a brief counterpoint to that with all due respect. You know, I see my job on this board, and this is a personal opinion, as attempting to do my best to reflect what it is that people are telling me, to protect the town when we are faced with something that might injure the town. But for the most part, just try to do the best thing. And then, of course, I have my own personal philosophies. That's why we're all elected. You know, I am attempting to do my best.
We all are.
We all are. So, you know, that's why I am fighting for something that I believe in. And I respect every expert and every consultant and every volunteer's opinion that we bring to help us do our job, but ultimately it's our responsibility and our job to make the laws. So.
I'd agree with that. I think, you know, the devil is in the detail, and we will be better off if we go ahead and look at the materials in front of us, and feel free to be critical and provide our own bring our own personal expertise to the table, and feel comfortable being out there. And I think that's our job. And if it's voted down, it's voted down, no problem. I don't hold any grudges, but I think it is important. If you have something that you feel is important, you have to have, you know, you should be able to spend some time, go over those issues, and if they vote it down, they vote it down. On another note, I would like to mention that the Millbrook Horse Trials is underway. It began today. There are 500 fabulous horses going around the Cool Park, what was called Cool Park. It's on Route 86 as you take a right off of 44 down Bengalamini Road. It's on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. All the dressage went on today, all day, 8:30 until 5:30. Tomorrow we'll have dressage again, and we'll have some cross-country. The really big, if you really wanted to spend an amazing morning, Saturday morning, we have an amazing array of advanced riders. That is the top in the country. There are very few horse trials left in the Northeast, and this is an amazing one. These are Olympic level riders, and if you want to see some amazing riding and horse flesh, this is the best we've got in the Northeast. And in other countries as well come to this event. I would go at between 8 and 9 o'clock. You'll see advanced, you'll see all the top riders through preliminary that day. So if you don't know anything about horses and you're not sure where to start or where it's safe to go, see somebody in this t-shirt riding a golf cart or not riding a golf cart, they'll greet you when you come in. You just say, where's the water jump, where's start, and you'll find there'll be people all along wearing these shirts with staff on the back, and they'll help you find where you should go and how you should proceed, and they'll help
And
you.
then-
It's phenomenal, and the only downside of this is that it's held every single first weekend in August, the same time as the Wasaig Project. So the Wasaig Project started, today is, starts tomorrow, right? Or-
No, it's Saturday.
It's just one day now.
It's Saturday
One day.
it starts at 12 o'clock, and there are events that go all day long up until 9 o'clock. So it's their summer festival, and there's many, many events going on during the day. So it's
It's like
a
a big
fun,
block
it's,
party, right?
yeah, it's a lot of fun to go to.
The
So
road, Furnace
you-
Spring Road is blocked off in certain areas, so don't be surprised at that. You park and walk, and it's like a big block party with all kinds of art. So it's dance, film.
It's art, yeah, dance,
art.
film, lots of things to do and
Music
see.
until midnight behind Luther Barn.
Super. So it's a great weekend to do two things. I will tell you that there are a lot of people in town, the Millbrook Horse Trials. I had a whole bunch of people saying, where can we have dinner tonight? You know, where's a good place? Where's the convenience store? So if you see people here, welcome them. They're from all over the country, and they're the top competitors. We're very lucky to have such a thing in our town, in our neighborhood.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for discussions relating to proposed pending or current litigation. The town clerk is excused. Will be the town board members, the town attorney, George Lithgow, special counsel, and the planning and the zoning board of appeals chair.
Second.
Thank you.
And Councilwoman Doyle, will you be taking minutes?
I will.
Well, if nobody else ever jumps up to take that spot, I don't know
know.
why they don't.